الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأهل بيت أجمعين. Brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Welcome you, all of you, in our Tajwid show again, probably the third lessons. Inshallah, we'll be discussing some of the basic rules of the Tajwid so that we can make our recitation perfect when we read the Quran, inshallah. Brothers and sisters, again, before I enter into the actual topic, apologies for the setting. It's just a home setting. It's not very ideal for the Tajweed lesson to provide a detailed information or detail outline about the Tajweed, because you need a bigger screen so they can write and you can explain more detail. But this current lockdown, whatever we have in our hands, we just trying to make do, inshallah. Just to recap from the last lesson, what we discussed in our the first episode and the second episode is the rules of ta'awud and tasmiyah. How do we start? Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. And then we covered makharij al-huruf. Again, it's needed quite a long time and more practice as well. But because of the time constraint, we try to swift, inshallah. Today we'll be talking about, as we mentioned in our last lesson, that is sifat al-huruf, inshallah, or the qualities of the letters. The sifat al-huruf, the qualities of the letters. It is very important, again, that we have to have the knowledge of the sifat al-huruf, not just makharij al-huruf. Every letter has two components, remember? Every letter has two components. One is makhraj, another is sifat. They both have to be combined. Okay, to say a letter correctly, both of the components has to be combined in each letter. Then you can say, or you can fulfill the right of the letters. For instance, there are letters that might share the same makhraj, okay, but because of the sifat, they different, right? So many letters, ta, dal, ta, they share the same makhraj. But when you go to the sifat, you see that the difference. What the letter, some sifat the dal has, which ta doesn't have. Some letters maybe the ta has, which ta doesn't have. So this is actually very important to know the sifat al-huruf. Now, when we talk about the sifat al-huruf, there are actually two types. As I said, I'm going to not go into very detail because the number of issue when you consider which how many types, basically some sifat the lazima, some sifat arida, but I'm going to focus on very basic difference, which we call it according to the considering, when you consider about the opposites. وكل الصفات لها ضد and صفات لا ضد لها. So there are two types of صفات. One is صفات لها ضد and صفات لا ضد لها. صفات which has opposites and which doesn't have opposite. Okay. So there are two types of صفات, two types of qualities. One is this, there is the number of qualities which has their opposite. And there are other صفات which doesn't have any opposite. Okay, it's just unique. This is the characteristic of the letter. That's it. That doesn't mean they have the same opposite the other ones. It's not like this. So for the sifat, we have, if you can see there, I just put down in two rows. I don't know whether you can see all of them here. I have wrote here first al-hams, and then this opposite is al-jahr. Then we have al-rikhawa or al-rakhawa, some say, al-shidda. In the middle I wrote al-tawassut. I'll come to that, why did I write this. And al-istifal, al-isti'la. And then al-infitah, al-itbaq. Okay. So I put them in order in terms of the strength and the weakness. Right? The strong ones mainly this side, and the weak ones, weaker ones on this side, and the stronger ones this side. So this is how I keep in mind. But it's either way you can write it, whether al-jahr first and hams second, or al-khawa and the shidda. But remember, this is the four I mentioned here. Al-hams is opposite is al-jahr, and then al-rikhawa or al-rikhawa and opposite is ashadda. Ashidda is ashidda and khawat is in between. The another quality is called التوسط, and then we have الاستفال, الاستعلاء, الانفتاح, and الإطباق. Okay. Therefore, you might find in some tajweed text or some tajweed books the another صفات الإصمات and الإذلاق. Now, الإصمات and الإذلاق is Imam Ibn al-Jazari, he mentioned in his famous poem. The scholar said this is not actually the part of the tajweed, okay? It's nothing to do with the tajweed. It's more of the topic of the lugha. When you have the language thing in your mind and you try and accommodate language with tajweed, then you need the al-ismat and al-idlaq. So I purposely omitted these two, but there are the 8 qualities I will talk about, inshallah, which has opposite nature. Let's start with the first one, al-hams. Second. So there we start about the hams first, the first quality. What is hams? Something is a linguistic meaning and something is a tajweed meaning. Linguistic means sometimes is whispering or the lowering. But in definition, when you call the hams in sifat, it's when the letter, because of the weakness in origin, the air is flowing inside the letter, or the breath is flowing inside the letter. Okay. When I give the example, it'll be clear, but sometimes the definition doesn't make the actual scenario. I understand this. But just to remember, this hams is because of the weakness of the letters. Some letters are very, in terms of very apparent, okay, or not very concealing. But the hams is like this, the soft in nature, or the weakness in nature. This is why the air flowing inside, and it has 10 letters. Okay, fa, ha, tha, fa, ha, tha, ha, sha, kha, sa, sa, ka, ta, or فحثه شخص سكت. We call in short, sometimes the abbreviation give we in Tajweed a number of times you come across this abbreviation. It's just to make things easier to remember. If you ask me what's the meaning of فحثه شخص سكت, I don't know, and I don't know anybody who knows the meaning of this, because there's no combined meaning that doesn't stand. Sometimes it's like أجد قطي بكت, I see my cats crying. Sometimes it comes, but most of the time there doesn't have actually any found meaning. So there's 10 letters here with a hams is fa, ha, tha, ha, and then we have shin, kha, sad, and then sin, kaf, ta. Okay, so if you repeat after me, it will be easier to remember. It's fa, ha, tha, ha, shin, kha, sad, sin, kaf, and ta. And in short, we call them فحثه شخص سكت. فحثه شخص سكت. So there are the 10 letters here. Now, how do we say this letter? For instance, this fa. If I say أفواجا, or if you say this أصغر, you see that? Yeah, أكرمكم, مثنى مثنى. Okay. See, there the air is flowing inside the letters. Okay. So they are how now. How do we know if the letter is the flowing? Just to give an example, for instance, if you take something very light, or maybe in your hand, when you see the air touching this, moving, then that means I say the letter correctly. Before just show the display how to say the letter correctly, one thing remember, this all the quality of the letter, whether they with the haraka or with the sukun, both of the time, we try to put this letter, the qualities in this letter. Okay, so if the letter is mutaharrik, i.e. with the fatha or dhamma or kasra, or if the letter is sakin, both of the time, the qualities have to be there. But what do we mostly say with the sukun? Because when we teach or when we explain, it's easier to understand and it's easier to listen the quality of the letter when it's with the sukun. So this is why mostly we try to give the example when the letter in the sukun, but that doesn't mean just the letter, just the qualities with sukun only. It should be with the mutaharrik and with sukun both. So for instance, if I said fa, af, af, you see this moving, af, afwaja, afwaja, mathna, mathna, math. You see this moving, math. When you say math, it's moving. But if I say no, because this is not the letter of an'amta. You see, this one is not moving. When I say it's not moving. But when I say asghar, you see, you see, this is air. So when you, or you can feel with the hand, when you see the miskin, when you say miss, if the air flowing up and touch your hand, you feel the air, then it is hums. Now, one thing, not every letter has the same quantity of the air would come out, or the breathing is not always the same because of the makhraj. Some letter might have more, some letter might have the less airflow, or the breathing, when you breathe, is less breathing. But the condition is all the 10 letters has to have the breathings. Apart from these 10 letters, all the other letters are al-jahr. So if you say this letter and the air come out, that means you're not saying the letter correctly. For instance, if I say ajruhum, if I say aj, that means I say ja, the air coming out, that letter is not correct, because jim is not one of these 10 letters where the air or breathing should be coming out. Okay, so it's make sure that apart from these 10 letters, all the other letters is al-jahr. Now this kaf and ta, there are quite different types of the hums out of this 10, because I see most of the time we have the reciters, they make one of these two mistakes. One, they might say akramakum, akramakum, or hasunat mustaqar, hasunat. What happened? The completely block is like the jab. Okay, but this is not the case. There has to be air coming out. And another mistake they make, they try to do the hums and they make akramakum or hasunat hasunat. The way this sometimes the reciters they say they as if there is a qalqal on the letter. Make sure it is quite different. It's ak, and least amount of air should come out. Likewise, at, tabbat, not tabbat, or tabbat, no, tabbat, at. This least air should come out, this kaf and ta. Out of all these 10 letters, kaf and ta has the least amount of air should come out, and this is a different type of hums in there. So these were the hums and al-jahr and al-hums. This is the first quality we finished, first two qualities. Second, we'll do ashidda and al. الرخاوة. And we have in the middle it التوسط. Now a shidda is, again, by this word you can feel it. It's very very strong in terms of its nature. Okay, so there are the letters. It has the letters is called G2. So there's أجد قط بكت, or some other tajwid say أجدك قطبت. Sometimes that's another way saying this. Shidda is again, it's when in very strong and in terms of the letter, which is main difference with the jahr or the hams and the shidda and rakha is, first we talked about the air or the breathings, and here we're talking about the sound. Where is very strong in terms of the sound and sound imprisoned when you say this letter. Okay, it doesn't flow, the sound doesn't continue. It is a shidda. Whereas a rikhwa or a rakhawa, when the sound is flowing in the letter because if the softness of the letter. Okay, so what did we say the first with the hams? The breathing air is flowing because of the softness of the letter, because of the weakness in origin the letter. And jahr is the breathe or the air is cut off, air doesn't flow, like ajrun, or if you say mutma'inna, the ta, we don't see ta, ato, is air doesn't flow inside the letter. In shadda or in shidda and al-rikhawa, it's the sound, not the air. Okay, very often we have the brothers, those who confused with these two. One is got to do with the air, and this one got to do with the sound. When the sound is cut off, then it is a shidda. And al-rikhawa is when it is sound flowing. So for instance, we have lahum ajrun, jim ajrun, you see ajrun, or ma'kul, you see the sound complete cut on the hamza. Ajiduka is not alif, by the way. It's I don't know whether you can see this ajiduka or ajidu qatti bakat, alif, jim, dal, qaf, ta, ba, ka, kaf, and ta. Again, alif, jim, dal, qaf, ta, ba, kaf, and ta. Okay, they are the letters of a shidda. When we say the shidda, these letters, apart from this, rest of the letters, there has to be sound rolling inside the letter. How? For instance, one of the letters which is not there, is sin. Okay, I give very often, this is miskin, miskin. You see rakhawa, miskin. But when you say this one, akramahum, cut off, like this. It's sound stop. When the sound is imprisoned or sound is blocked, it doesn't flow from one letter to another, or it doesn't flow inside the letter. This is called a shidda. On the opposite, al-rikhawa is when sound is flowing inside the letter. Ash. Okay, or another word on another letter of al-rikhawa is sad. Okay, or sin, sad, za. Okay, munzarin is when the fatha, and if it is in the sakin, Then it's azlama, az, you see, azlama, az. If it is last start here, and when it come to la, there should not be no gap. Sound should continue throughout the letter. So azlama, azlama. Now when it is ta, you see look at the difference of the ta and za. When I say أطعمهم, أطعم, أطع, أط, I cut off the letter. أطعمهم. But when I say أظل, أظلم, أطعم, no, أط, stop. You see the sound completely cut off. أطعمهم, and next time. So this is what we called the shidda and the khawa. Another one is with the أنعمت أن أجد قط بقط. This noon is not there. So when I say أنعمت أنعمت or عمت, is this meme? I'm talking about this meme here. أنعمت. This is quite different. Why noon and meme I mentioned? There are 5 letters which fall into this category. Okay, it's called at-tawassut. So when I say a shidda is completely cut off the sound, and al-rakhawa when is sound flowing, but there are some letters in the middle, those who are partly cut off and partly continues inside the letter. The sound continues inside the letter. These are 5 letters called Lin Umar, or if you write this, Lin Umar. Shidda is again strength, and Rukhawa is soft, but Tawassut is in moderation. It's not very strong like Shidda, it's not very soft like Rukhawa. Okay. This Lin Umar is Alhamdu. It's not Azlama, Alhamdu. Unlike Ma'kul, you see Ma is a Shidda. Ma, I completely cut off the sound, then Kul. When we talk about Alhamdu or An'amta, you can see that the part of the sound still stays inside the letter, but it doesn't stay as long as the rikhwa, like Sad or Sin or Sheen. When they stay longer. Okay. Ain, another one. Okay. Mim, Ra. An'amta, Amta, Amta. No, Amta. We don't say An'amta. Not like this. We cut off. Okay. An'amta. There's a part of the letter sound stays and then it's cut off. So this is Lin Umar when we talk about the other than this all of them just opposite is al-Rakhawa. What the letter should flow inside the letters, inside the words, or the sound should flow inside the letters. And just to the recap with the hams and jahar again, when the air doesn't flow inside the letter, it's al-jahr. Okay. Ab or ajruhum, right, like this. Muqrinin, muq, muq. Okay. A shidda is when the sound cut off. It doesn't continue in the letter. It's called a shidda. Al-Rikhawa is when it is sound stays inside the letters, rolling inside the letters, or flowing in the letters. This is called al-Rikhawa. And a tawassut is a in between. It's partly cut off the sound and partly continues the letter. Okay, so this is shidda and al-Rikhawa. We'll talk about next. الاستعلاء. الاستفهام. استفهام. Al-isti'la is again when it's to raise, okay? When the sound is raised up, that's what this the letters, this kha, sa, ra, da, ta, va. You see, in the rounds, the full mouth, or we can say, they are the isti'la letters. When the other letters come, the sound doesn't raise up. Still, sa, ba, ta. You see, in the nature of the letter, you can feel the difference. One is ta, za, another is ta, sa, ja, la, ma, another is ta, ta. It's quite, it's completely different in terms of the qualities. So there are 7 letters. They're always heavy. This kha, صاد ضاد غين طاء قاف and ظا. قاف and ظا. In short, we call them خص ضغط قز. خص ضغط قز. So they are the 7 letters. They're always heavy, right? Apart from these letters, rest of the letters always light. Okay, they are light, but there are when you talk about the tafhim in tarqiq, hopefully in the following episode or the after that, then we can talk. There are some letters that sometimes become heavy, depending on the situation. There's 3 letters mostly. It's alif, lam, and ra. There's 3 letters. But other than this, all the out of 28, we have 18 letters. They are always light. 7 letters, always heavy. And 3 letters, they're sometimes heavy, sometimes light. So this kha, sad, dad, ghain, ta, qaf, and za. In short, we call khussa, dagtin, qiz. They're always heavy in the nature. So if you say there is min khawf, kha, okay? Or if you say ghain, or any other صاد والقرآن ذي الذكر, this صاد, or into ظا, الطاء أطعمهم من جوع, أطا, not أطا, أطا. So these are all heavy, these 7 letters. Apart from the 7, rest of the letters light. So when we really say the light, it's when the tongue is lower. Okay, so this is how we're supposed to say it. We have when the tongue is the raise up for this is all the letters of heavy letters, but when it says istifal, it sounds light. It is lower the tongue. We have another quality. The last one for there is الإطباق and الانفتاح. So, الإطباق is the 4 letters it has. So, ظا. إطباق is, it means to close. When the tongue or the upper part of the tongue is rose up so much that it closed or it touched the palate and closed the surface. So it's sa, da, ta, za, za. You see the tongue completely this rise up. So when it is blocked, then it is al-itbaq. But all the other ones, it's the infitah, the rest of the letters, they actually flow. Okay, so ja, as, or ash, or if you say okay, they don't actually close, they still open up lower bit. So it's very important that you itbaq is when is the tongue rise and is blocked the surface that touch the palate in such a way that it's become as, al, 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 as, al, al, and al, like this. So they are all itbaq and infitah. As when it says infitah is open up. It is not very closed. It is open. Any other letter, L, M, N, whatever the letter you can think of apart from these four, is all infitah. So they are the letters, they are the sifat we just briefly discussed here. It's called a sifat laha ضد, or which has the opposite. These 8 qualities, this is very important that when we practice bit more, then we have to try to embody this characteristic or this quality of the letter in the letter, right? If it is missing out, then we actually not fulfilling the right of the letters. Another quality is when we call الصفات لا ضد لها, the qualities which has no opposite, which has no opposite. Now, the scholar says they listed down number of the sifat in this category, but I would say this mainly which is the most important ones to get to know this one. One is sifat al-safir. Safir is safir. Safir is sifat when we make the whistling sound in the letters. This is called safir, and it has 3 letters: za, sa, sa. za, sa, sa. Munzalin, mus, as. Now, sometimes we make the za, the way it's s coming up. It's not s, it's z, z, as, as, as. There's 3 letters. Okay, so these are the safir, the whistling sound inside the letters. If you say one letter and there is no whistling sound, then this is not utilized. For instance, if I say asghar, no. As, if you notice, the sad has few the sifat. One is as, that means he has to have the rekhawa. Sound should be flowing in, the air should be flowing in the letter. Another one is it has it's hams, so air should be flowing. Another is rakhawa, so sound should be flowing. As is waking nature. فحثه شخص سكت, so sa, one of these. And then we have the rakhawa here, sad. Another quality is here whistling. As, you see this? As, asghar, asghar, right? So these are the 3 letters here we have with safir. It's za, sin, and sad. Second, talk about the quality is called al-lin. Al-lin. Now, al-lin is it's again it's very soft, or when we call it it's very easy in terms of al-lin. Al-lin, we don't put any pressure or any force on the letter. There is 2 letters. When they come with the fatha before, this waw and ya when the sakin, and letter before fatha. So it's khawf or ضير, like this. So waw and ya, waw and ya when letter before fatha. when they have the fatha before. When they have the fatha before. So this waw and ya al-lin. This is a very easy way flowing. There is no pressure or ye or any other way. It says min khawf. Okay. Another the sifat we'll talk about at-tafashi. At-tafashi. At-tafashi is when the spread, the air spread throughout the makhraj, or throughout the letter. Ashmamna, you see, ash, whole of the air is gushing out. Okay, it's ash, this only letter here. At-tafashi is shin. Shin, at-tafashi. Then we have another sifat is called at-tikrar. I don't know whether you can see. Let's go to the next slide here. At-tikrar, or as some said, at-takrir. At-takrir. Another sifat is called at-tikrar, or some the Tajwid will say at-takrir anyway. Main point is the repetition. When the leopard repetitive nature is called at-tikrar. Now at-tikrar only quality which we have to be abstained from. I.e., we don't put this quality in the letter. It's given here in sifat la didda laha. It's because so we can be aware of this mistake, because we have the problem of the reciters, those who say the letter, and the possible mistake is highly possible, especially with the ra. It's because sensitive point of its pronunciation, it could possible that it could mean multiple ra could happen. For instance, Ar-Rahman, Allah, one ra, and we say Ar, it's a number of ra producing. So when it's the multiple ra, it's repetitive ra. We instead of saying one ra, we say lots of ra. Ar-Rahman, no. Allah, no Ar, right? So this is how the ra, this is the only quality that we should not put in the letter. It's because it's here just to aware that we shouldn't give this quality to the letter. And then we have very known, most of us already aware of this quality, is al-qalqala. Al-qalqala is, it says 5 letters of ta, ba, jim, dal. Of ta, ba, jim, dal. Qalqala is the letter which is when the letter has an echoing sound, okay, or the bouncy sound. Okay, so this is when the letter is in sukun, or we stop on the letter. If is now there are different the degree of the bounce in qalqala. When we say this is 5 letters. Just before I show how to pronounce these letters, there's qaf, ta, ba, jim, dal, qutbu jad. Okay, qaf, ta, ba, jim, dal, qutbu jad. There's 5 letters. Anytime we stop on these letters, there should be an echo sound. Now this number of ways this is qalqala, mainly there's 3 ways that there's sometimes the strongest is, for instance, ja al-haqq. When you stop on the shadda, it's the strongest form of the qalqala. Okay, or hajj. Okay, tabbat yada abi lahabin wa tabb. Okay, this is the strongest form. The middle is ahad, falaq. It's not as strong as the shadda, but it's in medium level. And the weakest form is walaqad darabna, walaqad darabna. some scholars said when you, if the letter mutaharrik and you stop for a while, السكون الأرضي, then السكون العارضة, you just stop, you Korean after that, then you can do this, the softest form, the weakest form as well. But in general, this is echo sound when it comes. This is qalqala. We have so we covered so far القلقلة التكرار and we have اللين التفاشي الصفير. We also covered الصفير. These are the mostly the common. There are some other الانحراف الاستطالة, but I'm not very into in terms of, because there's quite extensive in terms of explaining there, and time wouldn't permit us to continue today. So, brothers and sisters, these are the very brief discussion about the Sifat al-Huruf. Again, there's something, it might not be very clear, but if you keep repeating and listening this the lecture and repeat after me the letters, and when you listen to the sheikh who can recite correctly and who you trust, whether from online or anywhere in front of you, then you can find out this difference. One thing, sometimes it's very difficult when you read fast to differentiate these qualities. It's only you can feel it when you read slow. When you read slow pace or listen to the slow pace recitation, then you can actually find out the different type of qualities. If I say very fast, okay, for instance, غير المغضوب عليهم, no, غير المغض. You see, غين is one of the صفات, is it is the رخوة there. مغضوب. If I read slowly, غير المغضوب, مغضوب. Now, if I cut off this مغضوب, then I didn't actually do the رخوة. But you hear that I said غين, but I haven't fulfilled the duration of the غين here. So one way you can listen when you read the slow pace recitation, and then you see how the reciters actually the fulfilling or the saying these qualities, right? Otherwise, it's very difficult for you to understand just by mere listening any reciter, random reciter, when they read very fast or even not very slow. So I would request you can test yourself by listening to the slow pace recitation and repeat after that, and try to understand where is the exact the qualities fall in. Again, very important to understand the sifat and the makhraj of the letters, because sometimes the absence of this could change the meaning, or could change and give the incomplete meaning, or that the word it would say which has no meaning. So in the Quran, we should not read none of the way. So we have to read the Quran according to its recitation, according to its right on us. So it's very important we know the rules and the regulation of the tajweed, so that when we read the Quran, we can be aware of, inshallah. Brothers and sisters, we'll stop here today, inshallah. Hopefully, in our next episode, we'll continue. Our next episode will be on Thursday, inshallah, at the same time. Until then, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika, wa astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.